Okay, so we're doing a reflective vlog journal entry for BHO 399 here. My name is Dexter. I'm here with Nash Wagner,
Hey.
and we're going to talk about the upcoming Turf Bowl in the 2020 season. Nash, you want to start us off?
Sure. So what Turf Bowl is basically a gathering of basically all the turf schools and that kind of stuff, and it's a big knowledge competition where we kind of try and figure out, who knows the most about all turf, and this covers everything from like irrigation, diseases, plant type, spraying, like everything you can possibly think that you would cover in this, it probably covered. So, why this comes up now is right now in our class we're doing a kind of a prep kind of thing. We're doing like a mock turf bowl. The reason for this is because Olds is never. Well, the highest we've placed is 8th, and Jason really wants to get that first place team going and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to prep students earlier than we did in previous times or previous years, just to try and get that like high placement. So for initial thoughts, I'm all for it. I think it's really cool. I think that it's a really interesting topic to cover, and it covers a lot of stuff. So you're kind of getting a bit of knowledge from everywhere. So in terms of learning for students, it's a great thing to go over. I'll let Dexter continue on with what he thinks before I go on to what I actually think about Turf Bowl, though.
Yeah, so just to build on that a little bit, it seems like everybody in the class is pretty in favor of going. I think for me the biggest thing is I've been trying to weigh out the educational value versus like the money, like the monetary and the time commitment. Like how much am I going to learn that's really going to benefit me in my career versus how much time am I going to spend studying, and how much money am I going to spend to actually go there. Like I kind of need to weigh that out to determine if I really actually want to go, because I don't want to take up a spot if I'm kind of wishy-washy about it, where to take up a seat where someone who's really into it could go. But I think the general feeling of the class is like, we're into it and we want to build like a super team with, the 4 strongest guys so that we have a shot to, to place really high in this thing and maybe beat out some of the schools with more kids and more money and more experience with the warm season grasses and stuff. Like the Turf Bowl always takes place in one of the southern states. So we're at a huge disadvantage there. But I think it could be a pretty cool experience for us. Like, if nothing else, just the trade show alone that comes along with Turf Bowl, like in the networking, and particularly the networking out of our like circle, because all the trade stuff that happens around Alberta and BC, like you see a lot of the same people over and over. Like you can only network with one guy so much, but you jump down to like Texas or something like that and go to a trade show there. Like it's a whole it's a whole different pond of industry people that you could talk to and network with, and it could lead to jobs or opportunities and things like that. So I think just for that alone, it might be worth going. Nash?
Yeah, I'll agree with everything he just said there about networking and building your education, that kind of stuff. And again, also the earlier part he mentioned about like the kind of balance between like, all right, is it worth me going, that kind of stuff. But now I'm gonna switch gears and be a bit of a cynical here. So the other reason why we're at a pretty big disadvantage, because they have people going in from a master's program who've spent several years full time in school studying all of the actual technical. Our program here is very much about the applied. It's an applied degree, and we're out in industry all the time. Like, I will argue that we have some of the like really good we have a good group of kids. They're going to be like some of the top superintendents you're going to see, and I think for applied that we know that stuff. But in terms of technical, I'm not ashamed of saying that maybe we might be a bit behind the ball in technical. For the applied, we're not really worried about what exact parts of the plants we're affecting with different things. We just know like this affects this because of this. A affects B because of C. That kind of stuff. Applied, we're there. But just the nitty-gritty technical little bits and pieces, just they've had so much in-time school to study and learn and memorize all these little details that we're already kind of behind the ball. I'm not saying it's impossible for us to like place first or whatever. Like, yeah, you know what, you put in the hard work, you study, do all that kind of stuff, you got your fair shot. But just from a realistic standpoint of time in school, I think we're coming in from a disadvantage also because, the warm seed grass thing. But that isn't too damning. But that's just kind of my opinion. I think just we're going at a disadvantage. I think even whenever you place top 10, I think that's really good for Olds. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And like another huge thing, like a deficit that we have, is these big schools like Penn State, for example. They can send a ton of teams, and they can send them like year after year. So they've got
That's
guys.
another big thing. Yeah.
They've done the Turf Bowl 4 times already, and we can only afford to send guys one time in their 3rd year. That's a huge disadvantage. And for me, like the education versus the value, like, is it going to help me in my career up here in the mountains in Canada, like working the course, to know the Latin name of a turf grass that you'll never be able to grow here? Like, is that really going to be beneficial to my career? No, but there might be things that are. So it's kind of a balancing act with that.
Yeah, you can bounce around all day saying, it looks good on a resume, or you know what, I'm going to be missing out on months of work. No, not months of work, but you're missing out on some time on work doing this, or you know what, this, that, or which thing. But I think at the end of the day, if you want to go, you should go. If you want to put in the work, that's all the better. I think if you are going from our class, I would really expect you to hold up your share. I'd expect you to study and learn and mesmerize some of these, your Latin names and all this stuff, because you're going there to represent our college. And yeah, it's just kind of my thoughts on it.
No,
any closing?
No, it's well put. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening.